Hello, good morning. This is Patrick. I said my prayers. I know everybody have North Korea on their minds, and I just wanted to say first, I did a quick douse on the mass media, CNN, MSNBC, all those guys, and ABC, NBC, CBS, that sort of thing. And it's going to eventually change. And the diehard will be CNN, but they'll change too. They're going to change, get a hold of this, to a supporter, a, not a 10, but like a 7 or an 8, strong positive support for the president. All right. I think it happens in a year, that part. But watch what happens. Okay, show me. I'm going to do a composite reading of those five, those particular. All right. Give me a score towards Trump. Okay, this is like a -7, -8. Thank you. Oh, it's really -8. They really, so they're on the borderline of wanting him dead. That's what that means. All right. I mean, they really want him dead in the heart. Show me 6 months from now this reading, this emotional reading towards the president, physical. It's neutral. So in 6 months from now, let's see if I can guess. Let's drill down. Okay, June, at the end of June. Okay, it's about the same. End of July, end of August. So by the end of August, I'm getting a shift. End of August, September, end of September, October, and November. This is bad for the Democrats because there's a shift occurring before the election, and a couple months before it, there's going to actually be neutral coverage. So this is supposed to be their job, neither positive nor negative, but neutral, and it's there. All right. Where will CNN be? CNN going to be at the time of the election. It's still going to be opposed to Trump, but a little bit. It's changing. And did you notice that, what's his name? Zan Jones? He's a bald-headed guy, African American who was with Obama. He actually did something with prison reform with Ivanka and Jared. So these people all know each other. I mean, it's kind of weird. And they're doing something together on prison reform. That would almost be unthinkable a year ago. I thought that was an interesting visual major change. Okay, so keep looking for those changes. They are going to change. It is going towards Trump. And as you know, we're going to have issues in the country with food production and volcanoes. Well, we talked about this almost the last couple of years. I don't dwell on it too much because it's like, what are you going to do? You saw my map, probably what's going to do well economically and safely, all right? I'm not talking about droughts here. And I for some reason, Hawaii comes up really a bad place to go move to if you're starting a career or anything, you know. And anyway, and then we go and we're going to talk about the summit. And I did a tarot spread and I did some dowsing on it. And to make a long story short, I think it's all about money. It's about trade, and it's about North Korea needs money, and it's not getting enough from China and Russia. And can you see my dowsing rods here? I'm going to do something different. Will this peace treaty be signed between the United States and North Korea? Okay, it's really a strong yes. It goes there right away. It's a matter of when. Will it be done by the 12th of June? Will it be done by the 12th of June? No. All right? So there's a little fly in the ointment sort of thing. And I did douse before I started this that the deal is essentially done. It's like 95%. They already negotiated it. It's already done. And the biggest problem, I thought the Russians might have been part of the problem, or the mafia. There's two opposition groups to the treaty. It's China, the Chinese Communist Party, and within North Korea itself, he has an old guard. Now he's kind of a young guy, and so he still has opposition within his own system. That's 50% of the opposition. So Trump used a technique that I've actually used it before, and it's called the takeaway in negotiations. I haven't read his book, but it's a common ploy. And when you go one on one, you have a business deal or something, you have to be willing to get up and walk away. And when you really believe that in your head, it goes, well, if this is not going up, I'm just going to get up and walk away. And if you have a willingness, it kind of shifts your energy a bit. And the other people want the deal because that's why you came together in the first place. Everybody showed their cards to some extent because you're at the table negotiating. And if things aren't going well, you just get up and leave. And that's called a takeaway. That's what Trump did. He just did it. It's a very common ploy, but it was to check China and the North Korean opposition to Kim Jong-un within his own government. That's something you have to understand. And it's probably military, and it's probably their Secret Service, which is a problem. You have to go in and get these people out. Everything is about. So when I did the first tarot spread, I did a Celtic spread, and everybody's wishing for the best. So everybody's intentions is good for this deal. I have, by the way, it's the 9 of Cups, a little Egyptian. Do you see it? Egyptian. There we go. It's kind of cool. I like this deck. Somebody said it's worth money, so I should put my coffee mug on the back. And then, so what I do is I have my higher self pick the discussion card. This is the discussion card. And then the 2 of discs, juggling money. See, it's all about money. It covers it. They're trying to negotiate the money part right now. What kind of trade, what kind of check are we going to write North Korea? We're going to write them a big check. If we can take this rook in the chess set and move it to our side, which is North Korea, or even into a neutral position, that's checking China. That's why China is sticking its. I'm really surprised it took this long for China to stick in, but strategically, they don't like where this is going. And then, of course, the Fool crosses it. That's a neat Fool. That's a cool Fool. You see it? And this is the beginning of the new. We're going to start going through our whole cycle, whole relationship on this. This is a path. We have to have faith. And is this guy walking? Yeah. There's the dog. The dog, you're going by instincts and intuition. It's not all that logical. Here's the Fool. Here's Spirit up here. Wisdom. And the bird. And he's going to walk off a cliff. No, he's not going to walk off a cliff. There's the lotus. There's the egg. The birth. See the egg? You can't see it. Let me see. The egg. The birth of a new relationship. That's what it's all about. It crosses this. And then the foundation is the 4 disc. There's a guy looking at his wealth of the grain harvest. He's done well. It's being stored. And in a way, this is what North Korea wants. Again, it's about wealth and money. They don't have any food. So that was probably the impetus. And where I'm going. Pass. Princess of Wands. She has a tiger. Interesting, a tiger I would probably say is China. And there's lava. There's lava in the background, like it's there's lava from a volcano. We have that going on in Hawaii. Interesting enough, as a backdrop. But again, it's young. It's young. Prince of Wands. I'm thinking young because I got another princess and a prince. So I got a lot of young energy. The relationship is young. And I think he's young, Kim Jong-un, kind of. And then we go to the 8 of Wands. And he's shooting at a target. And I'm trying to do it from the Egyptian side. I'm not getting a lot from this card. But the target is high, and it's worth going for it. There you are. Okay. And again, the disc card, the Prince of Disc, again, the start of a relationship with money. I'm kind of doing this differently than traditional because I can see where it's different. It's talking about money. Is this yeah, yeah. Excuse me. Let me just think for a second. Yeah. So I did two spreads. Actually, the one I'm doing is in particular the denuclearization. All right. So in general, it's kind of positive, but it's all about money. It's all about money. Uh, Hopes and fears is a 3 of swords. They fear that this won't work. Everybody's fearing, even the North Koreans. This is important for them. They would never have done this. Gosh, I remember North Korea. They were just like wacko. They were extremely violent, illogical, almost like the left in this country is now. It's really, there's no logic. You just accuse people emotionally in groups, and that was how they ruled. This is Kim Jae-young's father and grandfather. And, okay, what is this? The environment, the swords, spine. There's a lot of spine going on. All right. This is about denuclearization. I think this is also about China on the sideline, sticking their face in. And then the last two cards is the sun. All right. The sun. And what is it next to, Patrick? It is next to the Ace of Discs. Again, beginning of new relationship about money. The United States is going to cut a check. That's what we're going to do. We're going to cut a check for peace. And then the hidden topic in the background, what China really, really fears, is the unification of North and South Korea, because South Korea is the 5th biggest economy in the world, and it's just half a country. If they get the other half, they're going to border both Russia and China, and I think historically and genetically, in the psyche of China, Korea has always been a thorn in its side, more so than Vietnam and Laos and Tibet. Now, Tibet spiritually will swallow up China. That's what's going to happen, and it's why the United States, the Western migration from Europe, when it came here, it actually, two things were happening. You can douse this. One, is bringing the indigenous culture into the modern world. They weren't going anywhere. It's dead in the water. And plus their karma is pretty high because they went violent for about 500 years. That's pretty much it. They were a very violent world. They weren't that way 500 years before that, like 1000 AD, before the volcanoes went off in the Flagstaff area, about 1100, and it signified the country, the indigenous people were going in the wrong way. They're really into torture of their neighbors, really violent, and that's why they were swallowed up so easily. You got to remember, in a metaphor, 100 people showed up in a boat, and they made a covenant with God. They signed it, one man, one vote. It's in there. You should read it. It's a very simple paragraph. That's America's covenant. That's American covenant with the higher dimensions. It's right there. The women couldn't vote at the time, and but it's one man, one vote. And that was because they didn't make it to Virginia. They were on their own. So instead of being under the rules of Virginia and the business and the crown, they kind of went off on their own because they were forced to land there at Plymouth. So that was interesting. So that's our covenant, one man, one vote, and that is the law of the land right now. But they want to change that. That covenant is being broken by the communists, the Marxists, in the Democratic Party with the flood of immigrants to allow them to vote, to break that covenant. So we're being sloppy with this right of vote, like we give it to anyone who can breathe. And that's not what it meant. It really initially meant people who were stakeholders to the sweat of their work, their contribution to the group. And that's what Plymouth and Mayflower, those people worked hard. They weren't, many of them already died by the time they got to that point. And there's a lot of untold stories about this relationship. But it doesn't matter. What happens after that, this is my own interpretation through dowsing, that things of this nature were happening. And I'm not the only one who wrote this, because you have to write why and how was it so easy. Basically, the North America people did not go out into the world. They didn't have that in them. But the Anglo-Saxons in particular, because they had the Viking blood, that bloodline went in there and said, let's go see the world. Let's build ships. The Vikings were into, they built the most outrageous ships ever. They are, and you see them in the Viking movies. They're low. They can go up rivers. They're really, you beach them. You don't need a big old dock. And that push went into the Anglo-Saxon blood. And that's just me too. That's only me. I'm the only one who says that. But it's true. So in the genetics of the Vikings, they had this to get out and see the world. And, and it was to see, to grab silver and gold and things. But it's also for the adventure. And that's what people miss about the Vikings. And also their psychology was different than everyone else. They lived in a state of, we can't phantom it, but it's, if I can die in battle, that's my goal. I mean, that's their goal. Let's go have battle, and they have to fight with all their might, and that's their reward if they die. And there's nothing worse than living through all the battles. Sparta had the same philosophy. But it's more than that. It's a state of being. And that state of being is fearlessness. And I had a vision many years ago where I saw the Viking ship. Whether I was on it, probably was. But it was going across the North Sea, and the waves were huge. It was all choppy. And they were just looked laser forward in their consciousness. They're just doing this. They didn't even care about, they ignored the danger of the ocean, because they could flip that ship in a split second. They didn't care. Even in that state of being and going across over to England, they had no fear. Zero. And I kind of bring that up because that's sort of where they're at now. Did I go to the end? Yes, I went to the ace is the end. Okay, now, and it had the sun card next to it. So this is about money. We're going to cut a check. And did I tell you the deal is already done? Yeah. They pretty much, I doused it. They already kind of negotiated. They already know what they're going to do. I think Trump had to do this because the Chinese were 50% Chinese and 50% opposition in North Korea. So he has his own homework to do. And I think it's going to help the North Koreans deal with their opposition in their country. Trump pulling the deal helped. So on this one, here's the what is the nature of the what's going on right now, and of course, the famous 10 of Swords. Sometimes I think this is the only card I get in my life. It's kind of funny. This is interesting. We're dealing with the Hermit covers, and that's North Korea and their issues. All right? And it's called the Hermit Kingdom. Interesting enough. But it's also, they're isolated. All right? And I think it's a mistake to look down upon these people like they're stupid. They're real smart. The Koreans are very smart, industrious people. And the Chinese probably have a right to be concerned, to have Korea, a united Korea on its borders. This will happen eventually, but it's going to take about a couple more years. It's not going to happen quickly like East Germany, when the East Germans were dancing on the Berlin Wall. I knew that was, I said, once they were doing that, boom, that's going to happen. I'm sure there's the apparatus in North Korea is going to try to hold on. the power. But this contract is going to move everything forward. And again, here's the money. Money, money, money. It's all over the economy of North Korea has to be improved, or everybody's going to starve to death. And there's great. China has having a wheat crop failure. We're having difficulties. So the crops in the world are a big issue. They're going to need money to feed the people. And I don't think the North Koreans can survive a famine again. They did it in the past, but not now. I'm going kind of quickly. This is the United States holding its ground. This is near term. This is what we're doing. And actually, North Korea is doing this to an extent too. But it's probably Trump. The man has red hair. Yeah, red hair. He's younger. And he's holding everyone off. And judgment. This is down below. This is the foundation of the matter. All right. And a decision was made on all sides in the universe. This is something that's stronger than anything. This is being connected from the divine. We're moving forward. This idea of a North and South Korea is the old paradigm. It has to fall away. So think in that term as well. There's nothing. I just don't know when the meeting's going to take place. Some people, and I already did douse it when he was in South Korea. Trump did meet with Kim Jong-un in secret. This deal was already cut, and it's about 97% done. But they both want to sign a deal with photos. You know, they're going to go through the buffet line together in Singapore and, things like that. And then they dance with each other's wives, and that'll be really good. Okay. Yeah, this is the past. This is what we've been doing. Temperance. It was a sort of, I'm going to say, they had to notch everything down energetically. It's not going to be like the Pueblo where they just took it for no reason. Is our spy ship. We moved away from those days, and North and South Korea have been trying to ratchet it down. In a way, it's part of the Olympics. Kim Jong-un's sister came down, and I don't know who she is. The sister I don't know much about, but it doesn't matter. And this is where we're at kind of right now. Everybody's feeling bad because they tore up they're not going to meet. So that's energetically kind of where we're going to go. And I can't see. What is this guy? Oh, the high priest. This is ordained to happen by higher dimensions. All right. That's there. My environment. This is a heavy load. This is where we're at. So it is hard to do. It's not a done deal. I mean, I'm making it sound like it's easy, but it's not. There's a lot of issues. All the countries are involved, and that's the environment for the meeting. This is about the meeting. The first spread was about the denuclearization, which I think is probably the most important. But tied in with that is the wheat, the money. The casinos up at the border, get those Chinese, I'm just making that part up. I didn't douse that, but it just comes to my mind going, Las Vegas is going to want to build casinos right on the border with China. Watch this. You watch this. Behar's and Caesars, and they're going to put the brothels right in there, and the whole 9 yards. I hope they don't do that. I hope they go spiritual. And they just might. Hopes and fears. But this is what they're all hoping for. The unification. All right? The husband and the wife and the kids. It's a joy of the family. The reunion of the family of Korea. All right? That, by the way, I can't see it. It's like whatever, the 3 of cups or 4, here, 6 of cups. All right, 6 of cups. And then, of course, this one. The last one, it's all about, now this is the deal. Now this spread, don't forget, is about the meeting. And here they are playing chess. This is 2 of swords, thinking about the next move, making choices. The other one, the other decks, you know, the blindfold, you can't see all the emotions behind you. This one is more focused on making the next move. And the other one has the same kind of philosophy, what you're going to do. So both sides are thinking right now how to go forward, how to get these people together for the photo op. This is all just the photo op. They already have the contract written. You know, that's the funny part. They're trying to get them together. So they're looking for an energetic point of time. And probably an astrologer, and the Koreans are big into astrology, so are the Chinese. There's probably a point in time coming up in the next couple of months that's going to be a good time. All right? And am I one off? I kind of am. I get the 10 of this. Yeah. I just do 3. I'm just looking through here. Again, the money, 10 of desk. There's a lot of money in both these spreads. And it's probably just about the economy. And South Korea itself needs an outlet for cheap labor, but they're not going to get it. Immediately, the North Koreans will demand equivalent wages to the South Koreans. But they're doing business right now anyway. It's changed a lot between North Korea and South Korea, probably in the last 20 years. Before then, it was really bad. The relationship was extreme. And then I go over here and I look at the, this is the goddess cards. I forget what they're called. What are they called, Patrick? This is called the Goddess Oracle. I don't do these much as I used to, but they're always occasionally, it gives me a one-shot deal what's going on. And do you see it? Now you remember I did this for Hillary. She got Mora. I just did one card for the election, and she got Mora. And I already said she wasn't going to win. And Mora was about fate, and that was her fate. She couldn't change her fate. Hillary was never ever going to be president. This is Black Annis. Oh, excuse me, Annis. Black Annis. And I try to get closer. And it's the hag. It's the goddess, the dark side of the goddess. And this is about cycles. All right? This is about cycles. This is the end cycle. This is the end of a dark time. This is the end of winter. That's how I interpret it. And that's the winner of the relationship between North and South Korea and the United States is going to change. This is all coming to an end. This is what this is about. That's why this paradigm, canceling the meeting is sort of like not important. Because this is going to end. This is ordained from the heavens to end. And then my other angel deck, I did one card. You all know this one. And I got soulmate. And the little kid's kissing the girl. Anyway, it's bringing those energies together. It's bringing North and South Korea together. They're soulmates. They are the same country. And I know something about the Koreans. I wrote a master thesis in college, and I had a Korean chairman of my committee. So when you write a master thesis, you have to go find someone, and he oversees your project. And then I had to go find a couple other faculty members, and back then, I just knocked on doors. It was great. I had access. I went to a school where there was a state school, and you just knock on the door and they're there. They'll talk to you, which is really, I like that aspect of it. And he was open to my ideas, and He was Korean. It is very interesting. He came over from Korea, and he came from North Korea, his family. And before, oh boy, it was during the Japanese occupation. See that it's really complicated, those relationships. The Koreans have a very uh, hard feelings towards Japan for colonizing them. And so that's still there. The Chinese have a hard feeling towards Japan still for World War II. And the other thing is, China is a bit out in the cold on this one because what are they arguing against this union of North and South Korea? Now, that's not on the table. Right now, it's just about improving relationships and denuclearizing. But all this is going to be a pathway, a pathway to unification. That's being left said undone. What probably South Korea is going to do in the United States is pour money in factories. And when that happens, they're going to sign some document along the way, and they might have a memo signed already between North and South Korea that the goal is unification. So that'll be for the next couple of years, that process, how you do it. And China is against it, but she has no say. Everything's going to go against China and Xi and the Communist Party. They have to go because they're not compatible with the energies that are coming up in the distant, not too distant future. And most of you will be alive. We're going to witness this. This is not way off into the distance. As I said, this is a monumental earthquake decision. And I'm just saying here, I think all I just wanted to say is everybody's down in the dumps. It was canceled. I think it's all going to go forward and it's going to be fine. All right? And what else? Don't worry about Q. He's authentic. You know, these people are on the right track. They're fighting darkness. I understand that everybody's starting to attack Q, and like I said this weeks ago. They're just going to continue. It's going to build up, and even Q said this. They're going to build up because really big names in the intelligence community basically are traitors, and they're guilty of sedition. Even Holder came out, the former Department of Justice Attorney General, and he said the people, workers in the Department of Justice should resist and not follow the orders of President Trump. And that's called sedition. That's easy. This is easy stuff. It's out in the open. Shows you how we're pretty close to blood in the streets. I mean, and they're calling for Trump to be shot on national TV, things like that. And that's really desperate. They're getting nervous, and people like Clapper and Brennan, these guys are just, they're just pigs. They're just pigs. Really low energy, and they're being pushed out by the changing times. And so it's kind of exciting to see this. So this, if you're under 40, or 35, if you're under 35 or 40, if you're 40, I go back, you probably don't remember the Berlin Wall coming down, 1989. That's 25 years ago. See, but it was really a profound moment in the history of the world when that Berlin Wall. It was symbolic of something physical coming down, and North Korea is almost on the same level. It's something we don't think about because, quite frankly, our consciousness, even though all our money is going to the Far East, between Japan, Korea, and China, they're sucking up all our money. We buy all their goods and services, and we really got to pull that back. And I think putting North Korea, putting it on the table of the political, cultural, and spiritual path is really, really good. So pray for that to happen, and it's a good sign for humanity. All this bad stuff on TV, you see all these people saying Q's fake and Oh, I worked on Q. They didn't work on Q. They're full of it. There's only 3 people involved with Q, and they have an apparatic behind them and access to lots of information. Um, I think I had NSA as like 35% of Q, and the CIA was like zero. CIA opposes it. The CIA will attack this Q phenomenon, and I hate to say it, I think Alex Jones has some CIA influence. They probably gave him money along the way. Probably got money recently. He has he has a big organization, and he has really big blinders on certain issues, and that's what the CIA slash other groups told him to do. The other groups are the ones that killed John F. Kennedy, and they did 9/11. And at the end of the day, who killed John F. Kennedy? Who did 9/11? They're almost the same, a little bit different, but essentially predominantly the same group. When you and the people find out who did 9/11, that's going to be monumental change and shift in consciousness in the United States. That is a demarcation beyond even the Berlin Wall. And we still do not know who did, but I know. I've doused it. I get 98%. Boom. I go, is it this group? I said, is it the Kenyan Secret Service? No, they didn't do it. Is it the Japanese Secret Service? No, they didn't do it. What, Saudi crazy religious fanatics? No, zero, nothing. Is it such and such a group? Boom, 95%. 95%. And it's like, then there's part of another group, but it's just like, because they're all the same. They just get commingled, as it were. And that's what's tricky here. There are hundreds of groups. And it's all the same group. You know, and that's what we're dealing with. And to come down to, like, to solve for X, you got the quadratic equation from high school. You solve for X. And you go down, and boom, we're gonna come down to one simple word for X. And that's just, and then we're going to say, well, we need retribution. We won't need retribution. I think just the awareness alone will move us forward into a more spiritual dynamics. We may not be into revenge so much. Okay, I hope you found that interesting. I thought it was pretty neat. And you can go on to the other ones. And there are other tarot readers that said Trump doesn't know what he's doing and stuff. But I'm the only, we're right. Anyone who has positive ideas about North Korea, South Korea getting together, that Trump has a plan, knows what he's doing, that's the real story. That's going to happen. And that the, I think part of the issue of some of these other people, they're just reading, you know, they're watching CNN. And I have people in my own family, when I talk to them, I cannot talk politics. You just can't. You know, you're finding common ground, and that's the higher road. Find the common ground, what you have in common. How about that fly fishing? I don't fly fish, but I'll bring it up. How about that? How about deep sea fishing? You know, poor fish. But you got to look for the common ground. Stay away from, because a lot of people watch CNN and believe it is God, even though their ratings, like for Trapper Jake, is down 30% from 1 month ago. It was already down. I don't know who's watching CNN, but they're still there. That energy is being pushed out into the population. And until they change, they're going to be about the last to change. And we see this. In less than a year, they're going to change radically. In 6 months' time, as a group, they all go neutral. CNN will still be a little negative, but on their philosophy to Trump and his agenda, they're going to go neutral, which is what a news organization should be. And then I saw in time, CNN goes really into Trump's camp. So maybe it's sold and sold off, and they're going to go for ratings like that. Okay, thank you. I thought it was all really good news. And don't worry about it. We're going forward. This is exciting, and I really look forward to the future. I don't fear it. I just know that volcanoes like in Hawaii, that we're going to get more of that, and it could be really, um, it could be bad, that part. Okay, bye bye.